Hello and welcome. Today, the movie we are going to recap is the perfect film for those of you who love to play mind games. At the beginning of the movie, a phone call comes in for Baek Soon-ju, a reporter for MBS News. The person on the other end of the line requests an interview. But this isn't a normal request. The caller also confesses to being a serial killer, claiming that he has murdered 11 people. Baek Soon-ju is a married woman, and she has a young daughter named Ye-rin. Soon-ju confides in a detective who is with her, telling him that she is worried about her daughter. Ye-rin has been acting strangely these past few days, and Soon-ju is very concerned. But the detective tells her that she should be more worried about herself right now, not her child. He reminds her that she is about to interview a serial killer and needs to take care of herself. From what the serial killer told her, Soon-ju learns that the powerful Lee Shin conglomerate might be connected to the murders. This makes her situation very dangerous. The Lee Shin conglomerate is a massive and powerful company. If she makes even one mistake or if something goes wrong, she could easily be fired from her job. But the reason she is going to meet the serial killer is not just for an interview. The killer has given her a terrifying tip. In 3 days, another person is scheduled to be killed. The killer himself gave her this information. He made a promise. If she agrees to the interview, he will give her a chance to save this new victim. No matter what the reason is, the detective is still very worried about her safety. So Soon-ju sets up a plan. When she arrives at the hotel they agreed on, she goes straight to room 2701, which was booked in her name. As she walks through the hotel, she sees that the CCTVs in the lobby are being repaired. This means there will be no visual evidence of her meeting. However, even without the CCTV, she has a secret connection to the detective. She is wearing a hidden communication device, an earpiece, so she can talk to him. Once inside the room, she plants several small microphones and audio recorders in different places. The detective is in room 2602, the room directly below hers, listening to everything. He reminds Soon-ju to call him immediately if anything seems wrong. Soon-ju takes a deep breath, prepares her mind as best she can, and sits down to wait for the killer. At the exact scheduled time, the killer arrives. Soon-ju confirms that he is the same person who called her. He is a very neat, calm, and normal-looking man. Soon-ju had already guessed this. A person who can kill so many people and never leave a single clue behind would have to look just like this, completely ordinary. The killer explains that this entire room has been set up to his exact liking. Then the killer tells her that he has recorded a video of every single person he has killed. He then shows the videos for her. Soon-ju has to sit there and watch these horrifying recordings, her heart pounding in her chest. This confirms that he is, without a doubt, the serial killer. Now, the official interview can begin. As a standard interview procedure, Soon-ju first asks for his personal information, like his name and background. The killer just says that those things are not important. Soon-ju then says what she believes his motive is. Since all the people he killed were corrupt or bad people, she concludes that he sees himself as someone who is cleaning up society. The killer says that is not correct. He says he started with a much simpler purpose: treatment. He explains that this isn't just a word, it's his real job. He admits that he is a psychiatrist. He explains his murders in a chilling way. He says that his killing is actually a form of treatment. He finds patients who are so trapped in their mental trauma that they can never escape. By killing the source of their trauma, he is curing them in the fastest way possible. Soon-ju doesn't understand. If he's a doctor doing this, he should be hiding it. So why is he doing this interview and risking everything? The killer replies that sometimes, for a greater purpose, you have to take a big risk. Then, with a serious face, he asks her if she is sure she has kept this interview a secret. Soon-ju lies and says yes, she has. Soon-ju then tells him that she is not here for a big news story. She is here because she cares about the life of the next victim. She says she cannot continue the interview until she knows the victim is okay. But the killer refuses to tell her. Because of this, Soon-ju turns off the camera. She offers to give him the memory card with everything they've recorded so far, and she prepares to leave the room. But the killer stops her. He tells her with certainty that if she walks out that door, the victim will die immediately. He says that whether the victim lives or dies now depends entirely on her. He then makes a promise. If she finishes the interview, the victim will live, and he will even tell her the victim's exact location. At this same moment, the detective is in the room below, planning to arrest the killer. But Soon-ju makes a decision. She agrees to continue the interview. The killer asks her to skip the usual procedures and just ask him direct questions. Soon-ju agrees and asks the most important question. What was the motivation that caused you to start killing? The killer asks her to listen to his story not as a reporter, but with empathy, as if she were feeling it herself. He tells her a story. Once, there was a young woman. When she was 29 years old, she got married and was very happy. Her life was full of joy. But one day, when she was pregnant and just about to give birth, a man entered into her car and do violent things to her. Because of this, the woman suffered a major mental trauma. After she gave birth, she looked at her new baby, but she couldn't feel love. She believed that her baby's smile looked just like the face of the evil man who had attacked her. Every day, seeing the baby just reminded her of the attack. In the end, she couldn't escape the trauma, and she committed suicide, killing her baby along with herself. Soon Ju realizes the truth and guesses, "This woman. She was your wife, wasn't she?" The killer nods. After losing his wife and child, he felt broken. He asked himself if he was even a real psychiatrist if he couldn't save his own wife. Slowly, his sadness turned into a desire for revenge. He found out that the rapist was caught, but he only received a sentence of 4 years in prison. For those 4 years, the doctor trained and planned. He spent every day thinking about the moment the rapist would be released, so he could kill him. But to his horror, on the exact day the rapist was supposed to be released, he got news that the man had died in prison. His chance for revenge, the only thing he had lived for 4 years, was gone. With his purpose lost, he decided to kill himself. But at that exact moment, a new patient came to him and opened up about his own story. This patient's wife had also been murdered by an evil man, and his 8-year-old son was so traumatized that he had become completely mute. The patient saw the killer walking free, drinking and laughing in bars. He wanted revenge, but he knew he couldn't, because he had to take care of his son. The doctor, hearing a story so similar to his own, felt immediate empathy. He told the patient that he would kill the man for him. He planned it perfectly, leaving no clues for the police. He captured the evil man, took him to a secret place, and beat him to death with a hammer. He filmed the entire thing. Later, the patient watched the video of the evil man's death, and he looked satisfied. That feeling of satisfaction, of curing his patient's trauma, gave the doctor a new purpose. That was his first murder, and it gave him the push he needed to continue. Soon Ju argues that satisfaction is just an excuse. She says he is a doctor who broke his sacred oath, but the killer calmly replies that he trusts his feelings, and he definitely felt that satisfaction. He then turns the argument back on her. He says she can be seen as breaking her journalism ethics too. She should have reported this to the police first. He points out that even though she says she's not here for a scoop, her muscles are tense, and as a doctor, he can read her body language. He knows she is lying. Suddenly, a hotel employee comes to the door with a food cart. The doctor takes the food, and then, without warning, he stabs the employee in the neck with a poison needle. The man collapses and dies instantly. Soon Ju and the detective are terrified. The doctor explains that this was all part of his plan. The man he just killed was not innocent. He was blackmailing a young girl with explicit videos, demanding money. The doctor then reminds Soon Ju that even though he has just killed this man, there is still one more person scheduled to die. The interview continues. Soon Ju asks what he did after that first murder. The doctor says he searched everywhere for people suffering from deep trauma. He found them, and he ended the people they hated, one by one, using many different methods. He says his patients, the ones who hired him, were very pleased with the results. And with each one, the doctor felt that same satisfaction. But he admits there is a side effect. Some patients feel regret after the person they hated is killed. The doctor, who already expected this, has a separate treatment for this side effect. It is hypnosis. He hypnotizes them to make them forget everything. Suddenly, Soon Ju gets a message in her earpiece from the detective. He tells her he is coming into the room right now to arrest the killer, and that she should stay as calm as possible. But when he tries to open her door, the lock doesn't work. The killer has jammed it. The detective, frustrated, has to turn back. The killer smiles. He tells Soon Ju about the next victim. It is a child. He says he has already hypnotized this child and made the child his. All he has to do is send one text message and the child will immediately jump from a rooftop. He mentions that this child had cut her own hand with a razor. As he says this, both Soon Ju and detective suddenly remember that their daughter, Yerin, also has a razor in her room. They both panic, thinking Yerin is the target. But the killer then says the victim is a boy. Only then are Soon Ju and detective able to breathe a sigh of relief. A moment later, the doctor suddenly takes out a small coin. He spins it on the table, and before Soon Ju can react, he uses it to hypnotize her. While she is in a trance, he asks her, "What is happening with your daughter, Yerin?" The hypnotized Soon Ju, unable to lie, confesses that her daughter wants to go back to her biological father. She admits that she has worked so hard for Yeren to have a good life, and she is incredibly sad that her daughter doesn't even love her. The doctor then asks, "Do you hate your child?" Just as he asks, the voice of her daughter comes through the earpiece. "Mom!" The sound of her name snaps Sunju out of the hypnosis. The detective, panicked, gives her an order. "Use the pen I gave you. Kill the doctor now!" Sunju stands up. She pretends to be angry, saying she doesn't want to continue the interview if he's going to use tricks like hypnosis. She slowly walks toward him, holding the pen, which is actually a hidden weapon. But just as she gets close, the doctor tells her to sit down, saying he will tell her everything now. He reveals that he knew the detective was in the room downstairs the entire time. The doctor tells the worried Sunju, "Your lover. Detective is probably fast asleep by now." In the other room, the detective has indeed passed out from gas. Sunju, in a panic, tries to stab the doctor with the pen, but he quickly and easily blocks her attack and makes her unconscious. When Sunju wakes up, the doctor warns her to be strong and listen very carefully to what he is about to say. He reveals the real, terrible truth about Detective Han. He continues that Detective Han was a brilliant detective, but one day he got trapped by gangs who want him to be theirs tool. As the gangs control Detective, he has no option. One day that Detective Han broke into a house to steal some documents. He thought the house was empty, but at that moment, Sujun's daughter, Yeren, came home from school. Detective Han, needing to silence her, raped her. That was the day Yeren's trauma started. That was the day she put the razor in her drawer. Sunju is in complete shock, unable to believe it. She realizes that detective didn't just meet her. He approached her on purpose to get close to her and Yeren, to make sure she never spoke. Sunju, shaking, calls Yeren on the phone to confirm. From her daughter's crying, she understands that it is all true. Yeren, suffering from this terrible trauma, had found the doctor and asked him for help. The doctor now looks at Sunju and asks, "So, should I kill him for you?" But Sunju says she wants to confirm it herself with her own eyes. The doctor nods, reminding her of the words she told the rude man at the bar. "Trust yourself." He gives her the key card to Han Sang-woo's room. She enters the room. Detective Han is waking up. She asks him, "Why did you do it?" Han, still groggy, says, "What are you talking about? You've been hypnotized. The doctor is manipulating you." Sunju hesitates for a second, but then she remembers the doctor's words to trust herself, and she has a flashback to the day of the break-in. Remembering Yeren's empty, sad face, she knows the doctor is telling the truth. At that moment, Detective Han realizes she knows. He attacks her. He is much stronger, and he starts to beat her badly. Just then, the doctor enters the room. Han grabs his gun and points it at them, telling them to put their hands up. But there are no bullets in the gun. The doctor had taken them. As Han realizes this, Sunju takes the chance and stabs him in the leg with the sedative pen. The doctor tells the terrified Sunju to go home to her daughter, and that he will clean this up. When Detective Han wakes up again, the doctor is standing over him. He tells Han that he will now feel the pain that Yeren felt. The doctor then cut his balls. Time passes. We see that Yeren is healthy again, smiling and recovering. Sunju meets the doctor one last time. She asks him if he has any regrets. He doesn't answer. She turns and walks away. The doctor is left alone, thinking about whether what he does is right or wrong. Just then his phone rings. It is a new call, about another new patient who is suffering from trauma and needs his special treatment. And at that moment, the story comes to an end. Thank you for watching this interesting movie recap. We will continue to present amazing movies like this all the time, so please give your support to this channel.